should get ready for a flood of biblical proportions. SF Gate reports that with the huge amount of rainfall hitting the Golden State recently, a 2011 study that depicts a catastrophic megastorm is getting more attention. The study, by the United States Geological Survey, suggests that California suffers a massive flood every 100 to 200 years. The best-known example of this is the Great Flood of 1862. For around a month, the West Coast was pummeled with constant rain. It was so bad, Sacramento was all but submerged. A local paper reported that 1,400 Chinese immigrants and 800,000 cattle died as a result of the flooding. Sacramento was hit by at least 2 more monster floods after the Great Flood.
Days of non-stop rain like we've been having. Much of the state would be 10 feet underwater. Only on 5 tonight, Paul Diano tells us we're actually overdue for an historic mega flood.
California is out of the drought. Atmospheric rivers fueled by tropical waters have pounded the Bay Area with rain. But this is nothing new. Over 100 years ago, we were in the same boat. Literally.
You couldn't walk around the street. It was just people scrambling with rowboats and little houses floating away and furniture and cows.
It was 1862. Leland Stanford was sworn in as California's 8th governor, but he wouldn't start his term in Sacramento because California's capital city, along with much of the state, was 10 feet underwater, devastated by 40 days of continuous rain.
It would be a major catastrophe.
The culprit? Multiple atmospheric rivers hitting California again and again.
These things can carry, up to 10 Mississippi rivers worth of water vapor from the tropics. It's like a fire hose.
And we have had several of those fire hoses so far this winter. Tremendous amounts of rainfall and flooding. If all of our water year rainfall is represented by this one jug of water, you would need 4 jugs of water to represent all the rain that fell back in 1862. So the question is, could it happen again? The answer, yes. Geographic data says California will have a mega flood about every 1 to 200 years. So we're overdue, long overdue.
In the San Francisco Bay Area, there are over 350,000 people that live in the 100-year floodplain, and I'm sure the vast majority of them don't realize that they're living in an area that's at risk.
Losses could be over $700 billion, leaving millions homeless. And it's not just rainfall. Coastal flooding could crumble the Bay Area's outdated levees, leaving safe travel and clean water a distant
I'm going to give away my age, but there was a song called "It Never Rains in Southern California." Well, that's not true anymore. We've had mudslides, trees down, power going out because of heavy rain. On the East Coast, on the other side of town, it never rains. It never rains in Southern California. They tell you it never rains.
typical thing for Yuba City is, oh, it's a boring town. There's nothing to do here. And yesterday it felt like it was a town in a movie that would be playing in some apocalyptical movie kind of thing.
You know, you're right, Reynolds. At least 4 people have been killed in those storms. And this morning, 26 million people remain under flash flood watches.
Absolutely.
Southern California got a dose of some wild weather. Take a look at this. Rain causing everything from swiftwater rescues to sinkholes swallowing vehicles, even triggering mudslides. Ventura County saw nearly 9 inches of rain. Santa Barbara Municipal Airport remains closed until 2:30 this afternoon.
Flooding already in Sacramento over the month of February. It's going to flood again, folks. I'm so sorry to tell you this, but there is a strong area of low pressure off the coast of California. It's going to bring historic rains to California. You've already seen historic precipitation this winter. Here comes some more. This could be an area of low pressure that could actually set records as far as rainfall and also as far as low pressure. Right now we've got flash flood watches up for much of Southern California, looking at rain rates as much as an inch an hour. City of Los Angeles, you could see 5 inches. Foothills, a foot of rain. That's not snow equivalent. That's actually rainfall. And we expect it to continue through Saturday morning. Then take a look back to the west. Another area of low pressure sweeps into Oregon and Northern California before the water hose is turned back on by Sunday evening. Heavy rainfall expected across Northern and Central California, as much as 3 to 5 inches in some areas along the coast, 3 to 4 inches possible in the city of Los Angeles. Watch out for flooding. This is going to be dangerous, folks.
Across the county as well as Southern California, covering the wrath of this storm.
Let's begin with our 10 News anchor Brian Schlonsky with the massive sinkholes that swallowed a fire truck and several cars. Brian.
Yeah, guys, both of these in different spots of rain-drenched Los Angeles. So let's start with this one, the fire truck. This is video that you just gotta see. This is a San Bernardino truck. You see it there. It's on the side of the 15 freeway in the Cajon Pass, and now you don't see
Thank the Lord that we didn't get trapped in there, because it could have been anyone who crossed it today.
And there is a lot of traffic in this little street, you know. So, but I'm glad everybody's okay, and this rain is crazy.
There goes the car. Breaking news, 2 cars swallowed by a sinkhole on live TV. This as Southern California gets pounded tonight by its strongest storm in years.
Roads crumbling here in the Bay Area too. Also tonight, toppled trees and reservoirs at the brink.
And it's still raining right now in parts of the Bay Area, and the series of storms is not over yet.
child were rescued after their car was swept away into a creek bed. The two were eventually saved by rescue workers.
This storm is being called the strongest in years. In Sherman Oaks, a tree branch fell onto power lines and landed on a car, killing the driver. In San Bernardino County, this driver ended up on the hood of his car, trapped by floodwaters in Victorville. Rescue crews managed to get him to safety, but the car behind him also got submerged. The driver of that car died. Several cars also got trapped in floodwaters on the 110 freeway in South LA. The freeway is completely shut down tonight. The heavy rain also shut down I-5 in Sun Valley. Valley in the San Fernando Valley. Water pooled more than 2.5 feet deep on both sides of the freeway. Tonight, parts of Santa Clarita leading up to the Grapevine are cut off. Reporter Randy Page is there.
Come along closer to the water's edge here. I must tell you, when we first got here this morning, the water was so much lower. We watched a few cars crossing. Take a look at it at this hour. On the other side of this washed out road are about 300 homes, and they're unable to get their cars in or out at this hour.
All the rainfall poured out of this public parking garage in Los Angeles. This is at the Glendale Galleria. It looks like a waterfall. In San Bernardino County tonight, this landslide is the size of 3 football fields. This is in the Slide Canyon area above Forest Falls. The landslide is threatening 4 homes and a fire station. The rain is expected to taper off over the weekend, only to return on Monday.
Caltrans says it hopes to keep Highway 50 open for the holiday weekend, but there's no guarantee. Mudslides have closed Highway 7 7 times just this month. And this is the sight to see. This is a sight to see for the first time in nearly a decade. Water from Lake Berryessa is flowing into this unique spillway. The reservoir is unusual because it drains from below. It reached full capacity.
All right, now let's take you to that sinkhole in Studio City. 2 cars plunged into that 20-foot sinkhole. You see the second one going in right there. This is near Laurel Canyon Boulevard and Woodbridge Street. And another thing you need to check out here, the water underneath those cars, it's just rushing. That first car actually had a woman inside, and if I bring you back here inside the 10 News Live Center, I can show you how she escaped. Fire crews had to put a ladder into the hole. There they are, pulling her out of there. At this point, she has been taken to the hospital. We don't know how bad her
inside a massive sinkhole right now. In fact, you can see one of those vehicles still sticking out. The windshield wipers are running, the tires are turning. No one is inside, but the engine is running. Underneath that, another car. We're told this happened around 8:30 tonight. There was a woman driving when suddenly this massive sinkhole opened up. She was pulled from firefighters, taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And then another car nearby, a van, also fell in, and Sky 9 was over the scene when that happened. All of this happening within a matter of minutes. People rushing over to see all of the commotion, people saying they've never seen anything like this. In fact, I just spoke with a fire official who says sinkholes are very rare in Southern California. They don't know exactly.
I'm going to give away my age, but there was a song called "It Never Rains in Southern California." Well, that's not true anymore. We've had mudslides, trees down, power going out because of heavy rain, much as 7 inches plus across parts of Southern California, and it's not over now. A historic low-pressure storm is working its way through Southern California. That's going to continue.
All right, back out here live. I am now joined by Councilmember Paul Krikorian. Thank you for speaking with us. Where do we go from here, sir?
And take a look behind me, turbulent seas. We were driving up and down the coast this morning, and it even caused issues early on when it wasn't even this
Now
strong.
the surf actually peaks from this storm system late Saturday, peaking at 10 to 15 footers, and with that, there's a potential for there to be damage along the coast Saturday afternoon.
The various flooding situations that we have going on in California, and of course there are a lot of them. I know we've been focusing a lot on what's going on up around Oroville, but I do want to focus right now on south central Sacramento County, where officials are saying that there is an imminent levee breach, okay? So there was a big chunk that basically fell off this levee. This happened back on Monday. They've been working on it ever since, trying to get some rocks and all that kind of stuff in there. They've got a lot of engineers working on this, but this is affecting Tyler Island. This is south of Walnut Grove. Anytime you see a tiny little flash flood warning like this, you can be almost sure that they're talking about either a levee that's expected to fail or a spillway that's expected to fail or something like that. This could even end up affecting eastern Walnut Grove, but I mentioned that Tyler Island has been evacuated, so that's one we'll have to watch closely. I know we're getting a nice little break from the rain right now, but guys, by the time we get to tomorrow and all the way through the end of the week, into the weekend, we're right back to what we've been seeing pretty much throughout.
And a new area of low pressure impacting the California coast Sunday and Sunday night.
Hey there, meteorologist Bree Winkler. Well, enjoy the calm before the storm because tomorrow is going to be a soaker. We are expecting the rain to start to move in late tomorrow morning into the afternoon. The first storm is already dumping heavy rain all the way through the Bay Area and into the Central Coast. We could see some light showers late tonight around Ventura County, but nothing compared to what we are expecting for tomorrow afternoon. Let's time this out for you.
Lingering showers, but there are more storms on the way in California. It's been an amazing year, and it looks like it's going to continue to be pretty active going into the early part of next week.
The radar showing more rain just pouring in here, and more systems offshore going to continue to do the same.
You're absolutely right. Gathering here in the Pacific Ocean, so in the west, where we've had a brief break from the rain and the snow and the wind, well, that is getting ready to change, and change in a hurry. The storm track up to the northwest will be shifting southward during the week here. So the flow moving onshore, plenty of moisture sweeping into Washington, Oregon, down into California here. And by the end of the week, and then check what happens here, the end of the week. Wow, look at this system all wound up. That will bring heavy rain to Southern California and more snow to the central and southern Sierra. So as we take a look at the scenario for you, dry weather giving way to the rain, which advances inland Tuesday night and into Wednesday here in the northwest. And then during the middle to the end of the week, the rain area shifts south. Heavy rain targets Southern California. We'll really get walloped here, LA down to San Diego, and we'll see the return of snow. Plenty of that up in the Sierra.
I'm in Glendale right now.
Can you imagine our building?
No, holy crap. It is raining.
Just an amazing storm here in the last 24 hours in California, one of the worst that we've seen in the last 22 years. And here is a look at the winds that came across Southern California yesterday, 108 miles per hour. Grapevine Peak at about 4,000 feet. Mount Wilson, which overlooks L.A., gusting to 80 miles per hour yesterday. The rainfall amounts also very, very impressive. Nearly 9 inches of rain.
That's a lot of rain, Mark. And as we speak, a city official here is going door to door, handing residents this. It is the order to evacuate, the mandatory evacuation order taking effect at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. I just talked to a resident just over there a few seconds ago. He tells me mandatory evacuation order or not, he's not leaving. He's going to stay at his home. He's going to shelter in place. Some of the residents of this area putting out sandbags. You see them right there. They're building them as we speak, putting them on their front door, putting them around their garage areas. And we did talk to some residents. They're on the fence about whether or not they're leaving, but at the end of the day, they're not happy about this order. You don't look happy.
I'm not very happy.
Jill Brainerd is trying to come to terms with a mandatory evacuation order. With the biggest winter storm expected to hit as soon as tomorrow, the city of Duarte has elevated the threat level to red alert.
This will be the second time in 1 year we've been evacuated, mandatory.
Jill and many other residents were evacuated when the fish fire threatened their community last year. The fire scorched a swath of the foothills, and during the recent series of rainstorms, the torch hills unleashed mud and debris flowing into some areas. Even as Department of Public Works crews scramble to clear out a debris basin filled with runoff from the recent storms, the city is obviously being cautious, deciding safety first, issuing a mandatory evacuation order.
I have mixed feelings about it. I want to stay safe. I want my family to stay safe, but the other part of it is we're leaving our home again and everything else left behind.
The order to leave affects 180 homes deemed to be in the fish fire impact area. Some residents we talked to say, while we need rain, we don't need to get dumped on all at once.
I like more rain, but maybe one day, and it has to stop. After a week or two, when it's not saturated, comes again. That's what we need. We need a lot of water.
And again, today, a city official walking around handing out this flyer. It is a letter, a mandatory evacuation order. Tomorrow, when that mandatory evacuation order goes into effect at 7 o'clock in the morning, authorities will be moving through this area, going door to door, telling people they need to leave.
They don't think the mandatory evacuation is necessary.
I am not concerned because the river is going to have to come up probably, I even live on a hill, and it's going to have to come up probably at least 10 times what it is now.
just, came out of the blue at the end of a warm, sunny weekend. People were not thinking about having to evacuate because of potential flooding.
Right, and there's the things that you grab that you know that you'll need, but then once you get to your location, there's the other things that you may not have thought of at the time. But it's all about getting out for safety, because at the moment, the warning they were giving people was get out now, because you may not have time. Okay, I want to show you the situation with the reservoirs across the state. The problem with the rain coming in is that if there was a big buffer in a lot of these reservoirs, no big deal, but everything's still running high. They're allowing a lot of water to come out, but the rivers are high, the reservoirs are high, so when you add in all this extra water, it's just a very difficult situation to manage, especially with Shasta and Oroville. So we just have to watch how things unfold in the coming days. By the way, Shasta, is at 95% capacity right now. That's way above the historical average. We know about Oroville, but some of these other reservoirs across the state, central, southern California.
Just a few days ago, a massive hole formed on the primary spillway. Not long after, damage was spotted on the emergency spillway. The damage caused the evacuation of nearly 200,000 people. If the dam spillways were to fail, a 30-foot tall wall of water would rush downstream.